Uh, uh, pushed it live.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to
Hey.
Don't Worry Wednesday,
I
the
had to
show
fix my chair.
where Joe fixes his chair on camera for all of you to enjoy.
I think
Watch.
it's good.
Oh, that was quick.
Yeah, it was good.
Could you do it again? Wasn't done with my talking about what you're.
Uh-oh, did you hear that?
Yeah, that sounded like you broke it. I can get on this.
Oh,
yeah.
See, I can't do this.
Yeah, don't worry, guys. Don't worry. That's how worried we are. Just taking a break from the show. We just started, but we're taking a break. Welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday, the show where we talk about whatever issues are on your mind. Obviously, this world we live in has troubles, and every life has troubles in it. There's all sorts of things that can go wrong, and that's the beautiful thing. We're hoping to share our experiences with you today on whatever topics you guys bring up. You know, we lived lives, we've failed many times, and we've had our share of successes as well. And we just hope to be able to take from our experiences, take from our wisdom, and take from the wisdom that others have taught us in our lives, and share it with you, just as friends and that sort of thing. You know, we're not professional psychologists, psychiatrists, psychoanalysts, psychometers, or psychos.
Psychometers.
Yeah, those are people who measure the psychoness of someone else. Like psychometers.
Psychometers.
Like a odometer.
Yeah.
Measures the
like a
ode.
psychometer.
An
So is this like a
odometer
machine or like an apparatus of some sort? Or is this like a person?
It's a human
It's a human.
with apparatuses attached to him. It's like a cyborg. Oh, there's another cyborgs. We aren't professional cyborgs, guys. And we don't have any psychic powers. We could kick you in the side though, but we won't.
I am a good sidekick.
Are you a good side
today? Because you are the host and I'm the sidekick.
That's right. Thanks for being the star of the show, Joe Anderson. Also, we've got Princess with us and Jesse, who is the
I'm the sidekick
producer. Okay. Everybody, thanks for joining. I see you guys here. You guys are great. Check out the chat. You guys are fun. Pancakes. I'm pretty sure people want waffles.
Waffles.
I guess that's one of those debates. So, anyways, how you guys doing today? How's everyone in the chat? How you doing, Joe?
I'm great, man.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, great.
I know you were like, hey, I'm gonna say something and I'm gonna ask Joe a question and he's gonna answer it so I can take a drink of my coffee or tea or soup or, you know, what was the stuff you were puking a bottle or something like.
So tasty.
Yeah, so tasty.
That would be interesting to have soup in a coffee mug and just be drinking that.
Yeah.
Why not?
It's getting to be that time of year though, where because a lot of times I just have water in here. It looks like a coffee mug. You think it's coffee, but it's actually
It's
water.
actually water. It almost looks like
That's
a black
the sound of
cauldron.
water, huh?
It almost looks like it could be a Halloween thing, like a black cauldron.
It could. I'm gonna have to put some dry ice in there.
Ooh, yes, but don't drink it.
Yeah, that'd be something, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But you know, it's getting kind of chillier out now. Jesse is missing it. He lives down south now. He used to live up here in Michigan with us, and he loved it. He loved it. He loved every minute of winter, especially the scraping off of the car and the shoveling of the snow and everything. He loved every second of it. And so, like, I feel bad for him. We all need to keep Jesse in our prayers because he has to put up with the heat and nice weather down in the south.
Yeah, he really loved living in the snow belt where it snows and then it stays for half a year and then it just doesn't go away and it just it's everywhere. And then when, you know, spring comes, it's not spring, it's just mud snow season.
Yes.
That's why spring is like my least favorite because I grew up in the snow belt and it was just like, why does anyone ever like spring? It's just muddy snow. Literally just mud and snow. Why could anybody like this? I didn't realize that other places were different, and they didn't, have that season, the mud snow season.
Wow, Spooky Engie used to live near the South Pole, -23 degrees Celsius.
It was great, they say. I don't know. It doesn't sound too great to me. It's crazy.
It's pretty awesome because you can always put more clothes on.
No, you can't.
You can.
No.
You can always put more layers on.
Not if you don't have more. And also, if you already are like this thick of clothes, like you're like, you can't do anything.
The Christmas Story kid. I can't put my arms down.
Yeah, you can't do anything except for freeze to death. You can't even put all the clothes you need to have on before you die of being frozen. You can't always put more clothes on, guys. It's a lie.
See this right here. This is a preview for Free for All Friday.
That's right. That's what we'll be talking about. Would you rather be cold or hot? I think. Yes. Yeah.
So
you know my vote.
You should subscribe to this channel, hit the notifications, and come on Friday to Free for All Friday, where we talk about all these important things. Like, is it better to be hot or cold? Or I think one of the ones we're doing this Friday is what's better, hamburgers or tacos?
Tacos versus hamburgers.
Yep.
Yeah, we had to talk about these important issues.
We're gonna have a big old knuckle.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be like,
knuckle sandwich.
Like hamburgers better? How about knuckle sandwiches?
Okay. Well, speaking of really important topics, why don't we get started with our show today?
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I'm sorry. You guys are amazing. I love you all.
Mm-hmm.
And come on Friday because it's a lot of fun.
That's true. We hope to see you guys because it is actually a lot of fun. We have fun when we're there. We hope you have fun too. Mm-hmm. So let us start. So I'm going to go through the list here. And if you are in the chat, please feel free to write a message in there letting us know that you're here. So I've got Royal Sevlev SK, Awkward/Pika, Yume, Aaron, Anonymous. The title for that one is Help from Afar. Helmrock Hero, Pear, Kaneki, Pear, and Anonymous. Honesty with Feelings would be that other Anonymous. So I know we have...
Oh my gosh, there's a lot of stars next to people here.
The stars are for how cool they are. Actually, I have no idea what the stars are. Stars in the dash. I don't remember.
The dash is there's more than one.
Oh, they're present.
Yes, Princess has she keeps track of all this stuff for us.
Yeah.
And she makes it so it's easy for us to understand what's going on. She pays attention to you guys because we're usually flapping our soup coolers, Speaking of soup and coldness.
I don't think it's a good idea to flap a soup cooler. That sounds like a mess.
It does.
Okay.
Yes. But anyway, we did promise Aaron.
Yeah. So we're going to start with Aaron, and then we'll go next, right? We'll go down the line. I think Yume comes first after that. So Aaron. Okay. So this one is BOS question in Fallout 4. I don't know what BOS stands for.
We're going to find out when we read the topic.
I guess so. Yeah, Princess, take it away.
Heyo, I'm having a bit of problems with mods in Fallout 4. It's causing my boss storyline to get messed up. For real though, the problem is that I've been feeling a bit down lately. I've been really good at school and stuff, but just feeling really depressed. From Aaron.
Okay. Yeah, Aaron, if you wanna help us out, you can post in the chat different things that you're experiencing and things like that, because obviously it's a really big topic, depression and just feeling down and all this kind of stuff. Sometimes we feel down without seemingly to have any reason. Nothing happened and we just feel down. That happens. But if you want to clarify anything, just feel free, because that could definitely help us out. You said, it's like I can't really get excited for anything. That's what you said. Okay. Yeah. I think we've all likely, if you've lived more than, 20 years, even then, you've probably experienced these type of things before. You said, even on my birthday, I was just like, meh. All right. Okay. And I'm guessing nothing necessarily happened that you feel triggered it. It's just something that you're currently feeling. That's okay. So I'm gonna give it over to Joe, and I guess we'll take it from there. We'll see where this goes. Good luck, Joe.
Hey, thanks. And thank you very much for the topic, Aaron. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate that. I would, if the question truly was about Brotherhood of Steel quests in Fallout 4, then I would be learning along with you, because I have no experience with that at all. So, but feeling down and depressed, I certainly have experience with, and feeling just meh and not excited, and just, yeah, I mean, we go through time periods where it's just kind of like blah, and sometimes maybe nothing really bad is happening, but neither is nothing really good happening, and so everything's just kind of like yeah. Apparently, BO3 is Black Ops 3. Okay, thank you. So Marshmallow says, it sounds like a lacking of dopamine. Sometimes that's the case. Sometimes we're dealing with a little bit of a chemical issue, but sometimes it's just the fact that life, we go through cycles. I mean, we tend to go through times of great joy where we're really excited and everything's great. And we tend to go through times of darkness where it's like, really, really hard, and there's difficult things going on. Like, like this past week, I got to work on my taxes because I filed an extension, and they're due like tomorrow. So I got them done today. But that was like a really hard and stressful time to go through, all that math, because I don't like it. But there are other things, like times when my marriage is a struggle. Like, that's dark and hard and just gut-wrenching, right? But then there are times when it's neither one of those. And we go through the times of just like, well, I guess I don't feel like getting up today, or something along that line, where we don't feel motivated to do anything. We don't feel like anything's causing us to get up and move. Like, I know that in times of great joy and great struggle, I usually want to do something, because when I'm in great joy, I want to do something because I'm like, yeah, this is awesome, let's go. And then when it's dark and it's hard, a lot of times I'm like, I got to do something to get out of this, but either way, in both of those moments, I can be motivated. However, when it's just beige,
beige is a good color.
It is. It's a beautiful color. Most houses are beige, just so you know.
But that's the normal. That's why you're using the word beige, because most houses are beige.
Right. But it's just, yeah. Sometimes it's just, we don't have anything to get excited about. So, what do you do when you're going through a time like that? Well, first of all, recognize it's a phase. That's the first thing to do, is recognize, you know what, I've gone through times like this before. I'll go through times like this again. This is just another one of those times. And then maybe you can look back and examine, okay, what were some things that got me out of this? So, for instance, there are things that you love to do. I don't know what they are. I'm sure there are things you love to do. But when you feel like this, just like blah and kind of just depressed, you don't really feel like doing those things you really love to do. And I know that, I experienced this recently. I love playing the drums. I love it. I love recording drums. I'm working on an album right now. But there are times when I'm going through, maybe I'm tired or maybe I'm just kind of like, ugh, and I don't feel like playing the drums. I know that I have the time to do it. I know I need to do it because we're working on an album, but maybe I just don't really feel like it and whatever. So here's the thing I've learned how to kind of trick myself into. I just figure, well, you know what? I'm sitting in a chair. How is that much different than sitting behind my drums? It's not. But you know what I just did then? I took one tiny little step towards something I like doing. And then, you know what? Well, since I'm sitting here, I might as well, put some headphones on and listen to some music and, maybe play along. And by the time I get started and get into it, like all of a sudden time just starts flying by and I get more and more excited because I'm doing that thing that I love. But here's the thing. It just took sitting down behind the drums. I always try to reduce it to the very, very first step that I need to do that thing. I know other people have talked about working out and what it takes to get them to go work out. And a lot of times people are like, well, I have a gym membership, and so I need to go to the gym. Well, what do you do then? Because sometimes it's just like, I don't feel like it. I know I'm not going to feel like it after work. I'm going to be tired. I'm going to be stressed. I'm not going to feel like going there. And so they trick themselves because they're like, okay, I know that I'll feel better if I do this. And I know that it'll be good for me if I do this. So all these things are good. But I know I'm going to be kind of in one of those phases of just, bleh. So I'll trick myself. I'll put my bag in the backseat of my car, my gym bag with my stuff in it. And then I'll see it. And that's the first step. It's just like, okay, I took the first step toward doing that. And it's like, okay, well, it's there. I don't have to go get my stuff. It's all ready to go. And then maybe you take the next step of turning down the street where the gym is. And, pulling into the parking lot. And they're like, now the real, challenge begins. Do I go in or do I not? It's snowing outside, whatever. And so, but it always can come down to just little tiny steps. Because when you're feeling like this, if you're anything like me, when I'm in this state of mind, even small things seem like big, like hurdles to get over. Everything that I need to do or anything that I want to do seems like a big thing that I would have to accomplish. And it would take so much effort and so much work. And it's probably going to be just a lot of work and it's not going to be any fun. So what I've learned to do is set the bar really, 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 really low to take that first step. And it's all right. How can I actually just start? I know writers talk about if they are used to writing with pen and a paper, then they'll just grab a pen and a piece of paper and just start doodling on the paper. Because what it does is it gets them into motion. And before they know it, stuff that's actually concrete and good stuff actually starts to be written. So that's probably one of the best things I can tell you to do in this case. First of all, just remember, we go through times like this. I'm sure you've been through other times like this. It's a cycle. So when you're there, getting yourself out, find what you like to do, something that would be good for you to do, that you know would be good for you to do. You just maybe can't get yourself to do because you feel kind of crummy. And be like, okay, what's step one? What's the first step in moving toward that? Not even doing it yet. We're just moving in the direction of doing that. And take that tiny little 1-inch step. And before you know it, you're moving along, and with each step you start to feel a little bit better. You start to feel your enthusiasm starts to grow. And then you're actually in doing the thing that you love to do. And by the time you've been doing it for a half an hour, you've worked yourself right out of that funk. And life starts to be fun again. And there starts to be a light shining again. It's really an amazing thing. So anyway, hopefully some of that makes some sense. I'm going to turn it over to Ryan and see what he has to say. So Ryan, take it away.
Yeah, honestly, I think, Joe, you said a lot of the things I would say, of course, because that's the way it goes. One thing we talked about before on this show, and Joe mentioned it a couple of times, is we go through seasons. The world we live in, it has its season. We were just talking about before, summer, spring, fall, winter, and how the world just, gets warm and cold. And the animals, we're animals, right? We're made of flesh and blood. We're mammals, right? We have children the way mammals do, and all of these things, right? We are animals. We're also human, but we're animals, right? We're both physical and spiritual creatures. But part of our animalistic nature is to have these cycles. You look at all the other animals, they have their cycles. It'd be weird to say, oh, humans don't have that. You look at bears, they hibernate. You look at deers, they have their mating season, they have their breeding season, whatever. They have their season where they, are more out and about. We have seasons where they don't explore anything. They stay hidden, right? You have chipmunks and squirrels who store up food for the winter. All of these things, right? Animals tend to have these high seasons of high activity and these low seasons of low activity. Usually it goes in terms with the weather. I find myself specifically very affected by this. When winter comes, I slow down, and I hate it. I'm just like, I'm so unproductive when winter comes. As soon as summer comes, it's just like boom, 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 boom. I got all this stuff done, and it's like, yeah, man, I'm a rock star. I feel great, That's how I am. That's how a lot of other people are. I know my artist is the same way. Rainy, she brought it up the other day, and she's like, "Man, I hate winter because I just get so unproductive." That's just how we are. And even when you're not affected by the weather, right? Because it's not necessarily a weather thing. It doesn't have to be. It's a seasonal thing. We can only be in a certain state of being for so long before we switch over to the next set. It's just a natural thing. So, like Joe said, don't sweat it too much. Don't get too worried. If you're just feeling like, oh, I don't have the energy, I don't feel like doing anything. There's nothing that compels me to do anything. Hang in there. It's all right. It's just normal. It's a time of your brain wanting to just pass. And I think that's totally fine. You look at something and you say, I'll pass. You look at another thing and you'll be like, I don't really feel like it. And that's okay. Your brain wants to have downtime. Your body wants to have that downtime of not feeling necessarily up to anything. And it's okay. Your value as a human being isn't based on how productive you are. And I think that's an important thing to remember. You don't have to be excited about doing something in order to live a good life. And you don't have to be excited about doing anything to be a good person. Mm-hmm. You can still be a good person regardless, right? You can still do good in the world, or you can still be good in the world. You can still be someone that other people can talk to. You can still be someone who talks to others and helps them on their way, even if you're not really feeling up to it, right? You know, another thing that might help you is a bit more communication with people that drive you forward. Or that, like, spending time with people who are not in the boat of feeling unenergized, feeling what's the word? People who don't have the feeling of like wanting to do stuff, I guess, spend more time around people like that, because they will more than likely get you excited about things. Sometimes we are in a state of just everything's blah because there's nothing necessarily new that excites us. And when new things come along, they don't excite us, right? But if we had someone there who was excited about it, they could probably make us excited. Sometimes there's things that we just have to discover and get a few steps into before we realize, oh, this is something I'm really fascinated by, something I want to learn more about. It could be anything, but you could all of a sudden, read a paper on something or hear someone talk about something, some random topic, and then be like, oh, that sounds interesting, I'll check it out. And then you check it out, and the more you check it out, the more you really, really like it, and you start to find yourself getting excited about things again. So don't ultimately don't feel like you're broken in any way. It's a normal thing, but don't pass up opportunities. If there's an opportunity for something new, check it out. See if you can get into it. Give it a try. Just like good food, you don't know it's good until you try it, and you might have to try some bad food before you get there. But good food is good food, and that sometimes that's just how you have to experience life. Sometimes it's just meh. I don't really care for macaroni and cheese. I've had macaroni and cheese 1,000 times. And I don't really care if you just put a new seasoning on your macaroni. Oh, wow, this new seasoning is really good. Maybe we should try using this new seasoning on some other stuff.
Worcestershire
that's
sauce.
what happens. Worcestershire sauce on your macaroni cheese.
I'm telling
you.
How
about A1 steak sauce?
I've never had that. I should try.
I don't know. I'm just saying, why not, right? Worcestershire sauce is a steak sauce, so maybe A1 steak sauce would be good on macaroni cheese.
Maybe.
I
don't know. Peanut butter and mayonnaise.
Oh, peanut butter macaroni cheese. Okay, peanut butter mayonnaise sandwiches are good, guys. A lot of you probably think it's crazy and gross, but yeah, peanut butter mayonnaise sandwich, I had those growing up. They're great.
Almost as good as peanut butter and marshmallow fluff.
I've not had that. I looked at that and go,
nutter.
What? That's just candy.
It is. Yeah. On white bread, yeah.
On white bread, yeah. It's all just candy. It's all just sugar and carbs, and I guess there's some protein in the peanut butter, but
yep,
that's funny. Yeah. So, I guess if you know anybody that's excited about anything, get around them. See if they excite you. If you get presented any new opportunities for something you haven't done before, try it out. Go on an adventure. Maybe step outside your house and take a walk down to the park and maybe meet someone new, right? Understand that COVID-19 gets in the way of some stuff like that, but things like that. If you live in the woods, go take an adventure into the woods. Go climb a tree. Go climb a tree for once. It's been a long time. Go climb a tree. Things like that. Just do it, and you'll find yourself in that. Well, here's the thing. The idea of wonder, curiosity, drives human beings. A lot of times, it's the desire for wanting more, to know more. It's like, oh, I wonder if blah, 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 or I wonder if I changed this, what would happen? We wonder about things, and wonder is a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful thing. And to start to try to find things to stimulate wonder in your brain, that's a big move. So start to look for things that would maybe make you curious. Start to look for things that would make you wonder. Maybe it's making your own story. Maybe it's making your own game. idea. Maybe it's getting outside and climbing a tree and then going, you know what, that was actually a lot of fun. I wonder what else I can climb, looking around and try to climb things. You know, this seems silly, but that's human nature. And that's one of the things that makes us feel fulfilled. We have this natural given desire. We have this natural pull towards wonder. And wonder is a very beautiful thing, and should be taken advantage of. It's one of the driving forces of anything that we do in life. So that's what I got. I hope that's helpful. Joe, did you have anything else you wanted to add to
that? Yes. I wanted to kind of come back around and talk about something that you had talked about earlier in what you were talking about just now. And that
we're both stumbling over words today.
I know, it's amazing. It's an amazing day. It's just because there's so much going on and we're like crazy busy. But at any rate, here's the deal. No matter what you're feeling like, you're valuable. Whether you're successful at something or not, you're valuable. It's interesting. Noah Game Master put in there, I cannot for the life of me climb a tree. Kids are supposed to be able to do that. And I'm a kid, but I can't do it. And I understand. But you know what? Everybody is built differently. Every single one of us. I have 2 sons, and they are built totally differently. One is absolutely a daredevil, climbs on stuff simply to jump off it. My other son is very, very cautious and, you know, looks and gauges everything, right? But do I look at them and say, well, you're more valuable than the other? No, not at all. Because they're just different. And no matter what state of mind they might be in, it's okay. They're still infinitely valuable. You know, my oldest son he's knocking on the door of being a teenager. And so he's learning some stuff about himself, and he's going through some amazing times right now. And sometimes his emotions are a little bit roller coaster-ish at times. And whether he's really excited or really angry or really, just mean or whatever it is, it doesn't change his value at all. And the same goes for every single one of us. No matter what state we are in, we're valuable. Whether we're in a coma or not, we're valuable. Because think about this, right? If you were out hiking somewhere and you got lost, and then you didn't make contact with somebody, who knows you for a while, do you know what would happen? There would be an incredible search mounted. Like, there would be people that don't know you out looking for you. There would be helicopters in the air flying around looking for you. There would be, depending on where it was, there'd be like either some kind of ATV or a 4-wheeler or a snowmobile or something. They'd be out searching for you. And then more and more people, like, the longer it goes, the more people join this cause. They are looking for you. They don't even know you. They're just responding from a call from somebody who does know you and they care about you. But that's the thing, because we're humans, because we're alive, I should say, we're valuable. And so it's easy when we're in this state of mind where we're unmotivated, we're just kind of blah. We feel we can start to feel like our value goes down. I know I get that way if I'm not productive. I suffer from the disease that Ryan, talks about, is not true. But for me, it's really, really real, because I don't feel valuable unless I'm getting stuff done and accomplishing things. And when I go through a time of like not accomplishing things, then I start to get just down on myself and depressed. I start to feel like I'm less valuable than I actually am. But then the cool thing is I have friends like Ryan who, I can he doesn't even have to tell me. I can just like replay the sound bite in my head from the many times I've heard him talk about this. But our value does, it doesn't consist in what we do. We are not human doings. We are human beings. And therefore we're valuable simply because we exist. And so as you're going through this time, like Ryan was talking about, remember, this is a season. We go through seasons. The world goes through seasons, people go through seasons, animals go through seasons, trees go through seasons.
Plants, yeah.
Right now is a beautiful tree season where we live. Like colors are just incredible right now.
Yeah, there's some deep reds, and it's like, wow, that's so pretty.
It's absolutely beautiful. So, but just understand, it's a season. You're human. You're still valuable, regardless of what's going on. And that's where I'm going to leave my end. So, Ryan,
nice.
Take it away.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add on that. So thanks. Thank you so much, Aaron. And I also am not a big fan of A1 steak sauce. That's why I mentioned it. I was like, why would you put steak sauce? What would you do with like A1? Would you put that on your macaroni cheese? But yeah, I'm not a big fan of it. But baked bean sauce on my mac and cheese, like you said, that actually would be good. That does sound good. That sweet baked bean sauce. Nice.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
That's right. Awesome. Well, so let's see here. Oh, okay.
Thank you, Aaron, for the topic, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I was reading something on the side. It wasn't directed towards me. It was directed towards Jesse now, so it's fine. Yeah, thank you so much for the topic, and we hope that helps. Even if it doesn't necessarily solve your problem, we hope that it at least makes your problem a little less worrisome. And know that everyone goes through things like that, and it's fine. You'll get through it. Another day will come, and eventually you'll be on top, feeling on top of yourself once again. But with that, let's move on to the next one. Hey, Yume, we got you. I see you here.
Steak is the best food.
Who says that?
Steak too. Yume.
Oh. Well, I don't know if there is a best food for me.
There are many, many grand, wonderful
There are
food.
great foods. Yes. Steak is good. Steak is very good.
Mm-hmm.
So this one's from Yume, and it is called Creative Process. And there's the link for you guys. Princess just posted it. Feel free to read along as she does.
I used to have a creative process. I didn't know what it was, but it existed. I would create, and it felt all right. I knew it wasn't perfect, but it was at least okay. Over time, though, I lost form. I lost that creative process, and thus I don't like anything I make anymore. It feels like all the talent I might have had just vanished. I don't know when or how, but it's gone. Every once in a while, I'll make something that's mediocre, but I no longer have those moments where I actually thoroughly enjoy what I'm making. I once created something that was exactly how I envisioned it. It was full of flaws, but it was beautiful. I loved making it, and I loved what it turned out to be. I loved every step in creating it. It was the first time I had ever loved making something that much. I thought going forward that I would begin to get even better at making music. I thought for sure this is where I start to improve. This must be where I start to get better. I had felt a true spark of passion then and there. I had never been able to make something I love as much ever since. Why is that? How can I fix it? I want to be like Ryan and Joe in every way, though I know I'll never be able to match their talent. Are there any tips you have for making music? What is your creative process? How do you start? What inspires you? Also, about the chase, it made me happy to see that my favorite character and number one suspect ended up being guilty. Maybe I should be a detective. Another thing, since I was unable to get the Kickstarter since I had no money at the time, I ended up buying everything available at the launch party. Well, with
thank
the
you.
help from cousins at least. The box has arrived and I can't wait to be Box for Halloween.
Nice.
Nice.
I'm going to be Box for Halloween.
That's so awesome, dude.
I've also already started doing singing lessons on the chase as well. From Yume.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Thanks for the support. You're awesome. And yeah, this is actually a really good topic. There's a lot I'd like to talk about here. One thing that you mentioned is about how you might never be as talented as Joe and I, and that's a sham. Don't believe whoever told you that, because
Right.
we're all different. Joe and I write songs and they're completely different from each other. The way we write is completely different from each other. The instruments that we play the most and are completely different from each other. And everybody's opinions of our music is completely different from each other's. So don't ever think that you can't be as talented or whatever as another person. As far as creativity goes and stuff like that, you're your own person and you will create things that only you will ever create. No one else is going to create them for you. There might be songs that sound like, oh, wow, that sounds like it could have been made by this person, but it wasn't. So, anyways, I'm going to give it over to Joe. I'm sure he's got a lot of really great things to say about all the topics here, about the creative process and how to get back into it when you don't feel like it's worth doing, or that you're not improving, or that you really just you don't love it at all. What can you do to fix that? So, yeah, take it away, Joe.
Thanks. Thank you again for the topic. This is awesome. I know that there have been times in my life when I've been really, really passionate and excited about stuff that I'm doing. And then there have been times when I'm not all that passionate, but I'm still doing it. See, that one of the things that helps is while you're experiencing the excitement and the passion, is to do it a lot to develop a habit. Do it consistently to develop a habit. And then, because really passions always fade. It's just like what we were talking about in the last topic. Always we will go through seasons of excitement and struggle and meh in between and everything. Like, we're going to go through that cycle in our whatever we're passionate about doing too. I can remember specifically, this was very, very an interesting time when I was in college and I was studying. I was percussion performance major for a while. It was a blast, right? First of all, because I love percussion. I love the whole world of percussion. I got to learn, how to be proficient at most of those instruments. I got decently good at, a marimba with 4 mallets, where you hold 2 mallets in each hand and you're doing all that. Not anywhere near what I've seen people do with that instrument. Like, I've seen some amazing people do that, right? But I can remember trying to learn this, and I was passionate about percussion. My main instrument was timpani. That was the instrument that I auditioned on for any of my auditions to get into schools and all that kind of stuff. That was like my main instrument, and that's when I was in when I did solo ensemble in high school. That was what I played, the timpani, the kettle drums, right? I always thought they were so cool because they were drums, but you tune them so they were pitched. And so, like, they were, it was a lot of fun, and you could change them and they go boom,
Yeah, that's right, with the ones with the pedals.
yeah. So it was super cool. So, but mallets, you know, the marimbas, the xylophones, and the vibraphones and stuff like that, those were never really my strong suit, but that's still stuff we had to know. And I can remember my instructor for my jury. We had juries every semester where you had to like do this piece and you had to perform it in front of the, you know, a whole bunch of faculty members, right? A whole bunch of teachers. Like, and they're all staring at you.
That's right.
And they have their pens. And you're playing, right? Like it's amazing. And you're looking up. I'm like trying to get a response. I'm trying to get any kind of response. Somebody smile at me, please. But like that was no. It was like you can't smile when you're on the jury, except for the tuba guy. He smiled. Like cuz tuba players are cool, right?
Yeah.
But I remember my instructor, he gave me this marimba piece that was played with 4 mallets. And I remember for that entire semester, I'm working on this piece. It was not fun. I ended up with blisters here. And then calluses on the inside of my middle finger. And then on the inside of my ring finger because, you know, one of the mallets goes through here, right? And so as you're playing, you end up with... I ended up with these calluses like right on my middle finger. It was the weirdest thing. But they started off as blisters and then they would bleed. And then over time they became calluses, right? But all this practice time, it was not fun. I was not passionate about it at all. So what was the point of doing all that? Well, I was majoring in percussion performance. The goal was for me to be a better percussionist, right? Because really, if you're a percussion performance major, what job do you get with that? Like, how do you, like...
You could work you could work at a studio where they hire you for like one thing at a time. Whatever they call those.
Maybe, but you're still kind of a freelance.
Yeah, freelance. Yeah. Freelance. That's
what you're getting at.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Or well, I get there are times like you could go play for a symphony. But even the principal players in the symphonies, they don't make enough money to live. You know, being in the symphony.
You don't make money in the symphony.
No, you have to do something else. So it's amazing. So the whole goal then was I'm going to be a better percussionist. I'm going to just immerse myself in this world and get good at it. And I was losing a lot of passion when I was in that time. And I got through it though. You know, I did my jury. I got a fairly decent mark on it, you know, it wasn't too bad. I got skated through to the next semester and then I got to play something way fun. If you guys should look up, there's a percussion piece called cold pressed, like cold pressed olive oil, right? And it's this multiple percussion instrument setup. You know, you've got all kinds of instruments all around you. It was one of the coolest things I ever got to play. That one was actually fun to practice, but even still, as I'm in the process of learning this piece, you know, it got hard. And it wasn't fun. And I didn't feel passionate about it. But so here's the point of these stories. Not just to tell some great stories, but the point of this is most of the time, whatever we're passionate about, we might feel moments of that passion. We might be able to remind ourselves of that passion. We might be able to, like, if we can every once in a while take a look into the future and be like, okay, this is why I'm doing this and this is going to be cool. And, then it can kind of jazz us up a little bit. But really, most of it's just work. It was either Thomas Edison or Henry Ford, one of the two, said opportunity is missed by so many people because it comes dressed in overalls and looks like work. So when we're passionate about an idea and we're looking for opportunities, the thing is we're going to end up doing some work. And it's not going to be fun. It's going to be work. So the question you got to remind yourself, why are you doing this? Why? What's the reason for it? And I've learned something about myself very, very recently, actually, and that is that the reason has to be beyond me in order to motivate me anymore to do anything. I would have dreams for what I wanted to accomplish. I would have dreams for what I wanted to have, what I wanted to do, what I wanted to get, things I wanted to buy, things I wanted to, achieve, whatever you want to talk about, right? I would have dreams of things that I wanted for me. And they would motivate me to some degree, but it's short-lived. When I take my vision and I attach it to the service of other people, that's a deep well of motivation right there. And it can make you do things that might feel like mundane work for a long time. But you're doing it for a reason beyond yourself. And when we do something to serve others, when we get ourselves out of the picture, that's freedom. I've been reminded of this many times. True freedom is freedom from self. Freedom from our own selfish desires, freedom from our own, selfish, the stuff we want for ourselves. When we're free of that, we're really free. And so the key then is to take our focus off of ourselves and what we want for us and start focusing on others. How can I help this other person? How can I help, work on, for instance, how can I help work on the next season of Criminal Idol? So because I know there's lots of people who enjoy the first season of Criminal Idol. I know they're going to love the second season because I know some of the people working on it and I know how amazing they are. Not just Ryan, but also Joe Bohan. There's some other people working on this project that are amazing. And it's like, wow, is there anything I can do to help move this forward? Because I know that'd be great for a lot of people. So at any rate, I've talked for a while. I apologize, but those are some things to tuck in the back of your head. Remember, you're not always going to feel passionate. It's going to feel like work. And that's okay. It's supposed to. But then if you can get beyond yourself and start focusing on how you're going to serve others with what you're doing, it reignites the energy. And it's a deep well of fuel to fuel you to continue going. And it frees you from the shackles of your own selfishness, if that makes sense. So anyway, I've said enough. Ryan, take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. I think that was great. If you're doing something right, and you feel like, man, I don't really want to do this. It's creative, and you're just like, I don't have the energy to do this. I don't feel excited about creating this thing. That's hard. That's hard, especially like homework is hard. Homework is annoying because it's something you don't want to do. For most people. It depends on the homework too. But if you're doing homework and you're like, man, I don't want to solve 52 math problems. It's just not something that I really want to do. It's hard. when you are in control of yourself and you're giving yourself work because you want to be a creative person, and then you're trying to find things to create about and you have no emotional drive for it, that's a whole nother level of hard. That's like assigning yourself the 52 math homework problems, creating them, and then doing like a spreadsheet explaining why you picked the problems you picked, and then solving them, and then grading yourself. You're doing every process to give yourself the work. I get that it's difficult. So here's some things that hopefully make it easier for you. If you're working on music, if you're writing a story, if you're making a game, if you are drawing art, whatever it is, right? Here's what I want you to do, because this may not inspire you, but it will get your brain going. Okay? Listen, try to do this. Pick out something, and like if you're working on a story, watch a story, or read a book, or watch an anime, or whatever. If you're trying to write music, listen to some music. Again, you can watch an anime. They've got plenty of music in movies and things like that. But listen or watch out specifically for things that you like within other people's work or in nature around you. There's plenty of beautiful things in nature around you. But whatever your field of creativity is, look for it in the world around you. And when you hear something you like, or when you see something you like, stop for a moment and think about, why is it that you like it? What about it do you like? What can you make that will be like that? Then start there. So if I'm writing a song and maybe I don't really feel into it, maybe I'll look for songs that are similar, songs that are really not similar at all. And if I hear something that I really like, I'll stop and I'll go, oh, I really like that. What do I like about it? Let's see if I can emulate this feeling, emulate this kind of rhythm that they're using. I'm not trying to copy it. I'm just trying to take something that I like and use it, right? Not copy exactly, but create something that I like. So part of the enjoyment of creation is liking what you create. And if you don't like what you create, it becomes very difficult. It becomes increasingly difficult to continue on. And I get that. And sometimes that's just what you have to do because it's worth it if you do. But it makes your job a whole lot easier if you do like it. So look for things that you like and start writing things that you like based on that. I think that that is one of the best advices I can give you at this moment for coming to more like what you're making, be more passionate about what you're making. Does that make sense? Let me know. Other than that, I really don't have a whole lot. I think Joe covered a lot of good stuff, and there's not really too much more I could add to it. So yeah, just
totally. You can talk about your stuff.
My stuff.
Yeah. How do you start? What inspires you?
That was basically just talking about that. When I hear things typing. When I hear things from other genres of music or whatever, and I go, oh, that sounds really cool. I like it. That means I want to create something I like that's similar. I'm not going to take their melody. I'm not going to take their sound. I'm not going to take any of that. But there's something in the element that I like. And I'm going to try to take that element and put it in my own music. And that's one thing that inspires me when I'm not feeling up to it. Sometimes, there's all sorts of different things out there. Like, I want to create a piece that invokes this emotion, right? I want to create a piece that's rocking. I want to create a piece that's smooth, that makes you feel comfortable, right? Sometimes these type of thoughts go, oh yeah, that sounds like a challenge. That's interesting. Let's try it, right? For a lot of things, it's just that's an interesting idea. Let me just start writing. I'm just going to write that down. I'm going to see where it goes from there. And that's basically my creative process, you know. That's how I get started. And how I continue, I guess, is another thing. Sometimes you'll be writing a song. You know, one of the things about music especially is people write thousands of songs and never finish one. And that happens to a lot of people. I think most people out there that write music don't finish their songs. And so you never hear of them. So finishing a project is a talent of its own. Starting is one thing, finishing is another. Starting comes from getting an idea. Finishing is taking that idea and seeing it through to the end at whatever cost, right? And doing that while keeping up the momentum, while keeping up the passion for it, while keeping up like, oh, this could be really cool. You know, all of that is a matter of practice. It's a talent, right? So you have to practice it. You have to practice finishing your pieces. Even if they don't sound good, you have to practice doing that. And then secondly, it's a matter of allowing your self to sometimes it involves destroying what you've created and just being like, nope, that's not it. I'm going to get rid of this whole section. I'm just going to throw it away. I usually don't. I usually take it and I put it to the side and I'd be like, maybe I'll use that later. And then I come back and I just rewrite something different. You know, being able to take what you have and critique it and be not ashamed to do so, not feeling like you've lost any time, just keep on going at it. I think that's something that's important. Mm-hmm. Don't get too held up. Another thing is continue writing. You know, sometimes there's a lot of times where people feel like they get writer's block in the middle of something that they're writing, whether it be music, whether it be a piece of art that they're working on or a story that they're writing, they get writer's block, right? What you do when you get writer's block is maybe you take some time off, but not long. You come back to your piece and you just start writing nonsense. Really, it doesn't even matter what you write. It can be fun. Yeah. You just start writing nonsense and then you go, wait a minute, I think hold on, that gave me an idea. And it really does. Think about when maybe your younger self played with Legos, right? You have a bunch of Legos there and you don't have anything to create, but you see two Legos and you just put them together and you see another Lego and you throw it on there and you're like, wait a minute, hold on. And then you take them all apart and you rearrange them and you're like, I can make a plane out of this. Hold on. And then you find a bunch of Legos and you put it together and you make a plane. And then you're like, well, I made a plane, now I'm bored. And then you look at your Legos and you see a piece, you just pick one up and you're like, this one, all right, and this one, and this one. Okay, now I've just got a pillar. Right. Hold on, what would be pretty cool if I made like a whole like an ancient ancient Greece type of building. I was just make a bunch of pillars. Hold on, I make a bunch of pillars, then I make a whole foundation, and then I make some of them look like they're falling apart. Right? That's how you continue creativity. When you have a project where you feel like you just hit a dead end, that's when your brain is going, I don't know what to do now. So now you have to fuel it by giving it ideas. You have to just start creating anything. If it's music, you just put notes down. You look through a bunch of instruments and you play samples. You just start putting a drum pattern down, whatever. And then all of a sudden your mind goes, wait a minute, I think I could do this here. Let me try that. And before you know it, it's only like sometimes it's only like 3 minutes later. Sometimes it's like half a second later. You're like, all right, I don't know what to do now. Ding. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I could start with that note, right? Ding, ding, ding. Okay, that would actually sound pretty good. That flows right into it. It's like, wow, that didn't take long. Sometimes you might spend an hour or whatever just going through instruments. And you're like, yeah, okay, that's what that instrument sounds like. What about this one? Oh, yeah, that's what that instrument sounds like. What's this one? Oh, yeah. Hey, this reminds me of a song I used to listen to when I was a kid from this video game. I'm going to go listen to it. And then you go off some tangent and you listen to it. And then you come back to your work and you're like, maybe I will use this instrument. And then you play around, right? Um, that's how it is. So when you feel like you're not inspired to continue creating, sometimes you have to get yourself going. And that's what Joe was talking about with the first steps, right? You just sit down in the chair at your drum set. And next thing you know, you've picked up the sticks. Next thing you know, you've created a cool drum line. And that's how it goes. So, and that's true for story writing as well. Anyone who is writing a story, anyone who's drawing a picture, at some point you just play with ideas until something clicks and you really like the idea. That's all it is. Anyways, I hope that helps.
Helps me.
Good. Helps me too. But yeah, that's what I got. I hope that's helpful. And Joe, did you have anything else you wanted to add on to that?
Not a whole lot. You can do it.
Yeah, for sure, man. Don't ever.
And it's okay when things feel like work.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. Yeah. Work is rewarding. I don't know. There are times when like I spent all day moving rocks and I'm sore and it's like I didn't feel like I'd really accomplished much of anything, but I worked really, really hard and it wasn't fun while I did it. But then at the end of that day, I fall asleep real easy. I feel fulfilled. I might feel sore and in pain a little bit, so I might take some Tylenol or something. But like work is, sometimes it's its own reward. It's amazing because we spend so much time avoiding work. It's kind of like baked into our culture a little bit. We spend all this time avoiding work. In fact, some people I know do more work to avoid work than it would have taken to do the work they were supposed to do.
Yeah, and they're proud of it though.
Exactly, right? It's like you just worked harder avoiding the job you were supposed to do. Like, absolutely. And it's weird. Like, sometimes for me, even if, okay, for instance, today I was sitting down, I was going to do some drumming. Like, I was going to record some drums or at least play, because there was a new song that Steve sent me, for the Single Dual album that's coming out, in the near future. And then also there was a song, I'm working on a song with Jono Munkerstar. He sent me and he wanted some drums put down for this one. And so I was like, this is one of my favorite things to do in the world, is to play drums. I should be excited about this. I should be like chomping at the bit, getting over there to play my drum set. But you know what I'm doing? I'm dilly-dallying around. I'm doing all these other tasks. I'm like kind of cleaning my desk area a little bit. I'm doing, I'm weighing some boxes that just so I have empty box weights, so that it's easier for the shipping software and stuff like that. I mean, I'm doing all this dumb stuff. It's almost like the more meaningful something is going to be, the harder it is for us to do it. So pay attention to that in yourself too. Because sometimes when we stack up a whole bunch of importance to a certain thing, like I look at the album that Steve and I are going to release, that's hugely important to my goals, to the goals of Black Static and Swerve, to all that stuff, right? That's hugely important. To do a collaboration with Jono, that's also hugely important because that opens up another doorway of collaborations. And to me, that's huge. And I've been wanting to do a project with him for a long time. And but because of the magnitude that I'd built up for these things in my head, it was hard for me to start. Because just the sheer bigness of it to me was maybe intimidating, I guess. I'm still trying to figure this out in myself, but for some reason, I have a hard time starting things that I put high importance on, that I label as highly important, even though drumming is one of my favorite things to do in the world. And that's all I was going to do. I was going to sit down and play some drums. But still, I had barriers to overcome because I had stacked up this importance level of what I was going to be doing. So it's interesting. So just be mindful of that as you're doing things, pay attention to yourself, analyze how you operate. And sometimes you can start to find those little hitches that stop you. And you can start getting them out of the way and start figuring out, okay, how do I get past this? So, but identifying them is key. So that was the thing I wanted to say, was just pay attention to yourself and your thought process as you're doing this. So that's it.
Yeah, I think that's really helpful. Yume says they do the same thing, and yeah, I think that's a good note to end it on. So best of wishes out to you. Keep on creating. You'll create amazing things. Don't worry about whether you're going to be good or not. Seriously, don't ever worry about whether you can be good or not. Just do it. Because you'll get good, and that's all there is to it. And if you're not already good, which you probably are, so just keep on going with it, and that's all you can do. I mean, yeah. So don't worry about it if you're not as good as someone else or whatever, because it's all in the eye of the beholder, anyways. Cool. So I guess thank you so much, Yume. Thank you for allowing us to talk on that. It's a great topic. And let's move on to the next one. Yeah. So is this Princess? I know that you're, huh?
Is the next one?
Yeah, the next one is from an anonymous person. And Princess, I know that you're busy helping Ash ride, but I am curious if you know if this anonymous person is here.
There's a star next to the name.
There's a star next to it, but it doesn't mean that could have been earlier. Well, we can do it.
Let's see if Princess puts it in
the
chat, and then that'll be our answer. Although she just said it in our headphones.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're here. Okay. This one, anonymous.
Oh, Ash Ride. Sorry.
Yeah.
I will just answer your question. This live stream, this video will be up like forever.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
sorry, I read that question too, and I forgot to answer. So I apologize. Yep. You can always come back and play it again for your own enjoyment or knowledge, which is great. So this one's from anonymous. It's titled "Help from Afar," and Princess is going to read for us. Thanks.
Yes.
Sorry for the wait. How can I help? I was just.
It's all right, Princess.
I was just reading.
Everybody needs a coffee break once in a while.
I don't have any drink. I have to get some after this. Anyway.
All right, go on. Go get your drink. We'll you can read it after you get back.
Hi.
Just kidding.
We'll just pretend it's the beginning of the show again, and we'll talk about nonsense.
Hey guys, welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday.
Anyway.
Princess is such a good sport, man. Way to go. Way to go for putting up with us.
Yeah.
You guys are fine. How can I help someone that I'm not near? I have lived a lot online and have met a lot of wonderful people. Some I still remember, others lost to the sands of time. But the thing I notice is many of these treasures I have dug up for myself are damaged people who are hurt and being abused from their parents, family, friends, and other times have nowhere to turn to. It is hard to hear about someone who is being hurt and is being abused because there's nowhere they can run to, and all I can do is pray that they will be safe, and I do. But I wish I could do more. I hope others who may be in that situation that is like the ones I talk about, to reach out and find a way, and I wish you all the best. Sorry, I have been wanting to ask this for a while, but I feel like such a bother. Anyways, remember to stay classy, make good decisions, remember you're all wonderful. Don't forget to be awesome.
Diftba. I
From
like that.
Anonymous.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. This is a good topic. I mean, it's a really important one in this day and age and days past. child abuse and things like that is nothing new in this world. Believe it or not, as terrible as it is a lot better now than it was centuries ago.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole lot less of it. That doesn't mean that it's any worse or better. It's just terrible that anyone would do something like that. There are plenty of people, maybe they're just depressed, maybe they're not going through any abuse or anything, they're just depressed. There's plenty of people that we meet online and we aren't near them, and we want to extend a reaching hand. Some of them, it's like, I don't know what to do, and it feels like you're helpless as much as they are. And so it can be a difficult thing to deal with. There's, I have to hand it to you. I think it's a wonderful thing that you are worried about it. It really shows your heart, and I think that is a beautiful thing. And one of those beautiful things that you can do for them is share that with them, to share your heart, to say that, hey, I want to help you, and if they notice that, right, that at least maybe rubs off on them and they want to help people too. Sometimes that's the most freeing thing, like Joe was talking about, is kind of getting away from your own problems by not focusing on them so much and worry about the problems of others. It can be incredibly freeing because you realize that your own problems, couldn't change much about them anyway. So, you were wasting your time complaining, and you can move on and you become more in control of yourself. But there's a lot we can talk about. Hopefully we can help you help others better. But I'm going to go over to Joe and see what he's got to say. Go for it.
I appreciate that, Ryan. I appreciate you you posting this, Anonymous. This is definitely this is a deep one right here, because as one of the reasons that we, when Ryan and I decided to continue this show, when Derek, the Beta Cat, decided he wasn't going to do it anymore, we were like, well, we should do something like this show, because there are a lot of hurting people out in the world. And sometimes, and like we always say at the beginning, we're not professional psychologists, but we just want to be your friend, and we just want to talk and help, because that's really, even if someone's going through professional counseling, sometimes the most important thing they can have is somebody to pull up alongside them and just listen without judgment, be their friend, and just be there while they're going through whatever turmoil or whatever hardship, if they're being abused, if they're being hurt, whatever's going on. That's one of the reasons why we wanted to continue doing this show. Just to, if we could only reach a handful of people, it would be worth it. Because that, to make a difference in one person's life is hugely important, and that you have that in your heart. I admire that so much, and I appreciate you for that. So then what do you do, like when you're not near someone and they're going through this struggle and this pain, and we're not close to them, we can't really help them by being there in person? Well, a lot of times if someone's being hurt and abused, we're not able to be there in person anyway. And we might be powerless in that situation. I mean, if it's really, really bad and all we can, I guess we can call the police or something, or call Child Protective Services or something. I don't know. But, but when we're like, we're not there to intervene usually, so I guess it just really depends, on what we're doing. But you said something very important, and it's very, very powerful. And it is, all I can do is pray. Pray they will be safe. And I do, which tells me you do pray for them. So you are using your strongest card. Now, here's the thing. Some people might look at the hurt and the abuse and the pain and all that kind of stuff, and they might look at that and go like, well, how could there even be a God to pray to? I mean, these horrendous things are happening, all this evil in the world. Like, how could there be a loving God? And so I, sometimes we'll go through this thought process in our head. Like, if there was a good God, there'd be no evil. Well, the thing about God, and this comes from our belief system. I mean, this isn't supposed to be a theological talk, but I guess I'm going to use this opportunity to to expound a little bit about some of this, because it makes sense, and it totally makes sense, and it can be helpful in this situation. And that is that evil exists because a greater good can be brought out of that evil than was ever possible before the evil occurred. I know that you've had bad things happen to you, that you have seen good things come out of that would not have existed without the bad thing happening. Like, children are born every day. It's a painful experience to give birth. I don't know personally, but I was there and I watched it 2 times because I got 2 kids. And man, my wife, she's one tough lady. Right? To go through that.
I wouldn't want to go through that.
Oh my goodness. But you know what? How amazing is it for a new life to be there? So okay, if we just look at the pain of the bad thing, and pain is hard to deal with, right? But what could happen? It's like, what can come out of that? I mean, it's amazing. So a lot of times with abuse, we look at this, and there's a story of 2 brothers, right? And one brother was in prison. One brother was a very, very successful doctor. And so an interviewer asked him, they're like, okay, so you're in prison. Why are you in prison? He's like, well, my dad was an alcoholic and he beat me. Where else would I end up? And so then they asked the doctor, so your brother's in prison. You're like this successful, you worked really hard and became successful. What, like, how is that possible? Well, I had a dad who was drunk and abusive. Like, where else was I going to end up? I had to do something. So both of them used the same impetus. The drunk, abusive father as the motivator to do the things that led them to these very, very different places. So really, when something happens to us, it's how we use it that's important. If somebody abuses me, and I've not been physically abused very much, maybe a little bit by bullies in high school and stuff like that, but most of the abuse that I've dealt with has been verbal and emotional. And I've dealt with a fair share of it. But I have to look at that. And, I didn't always think this way. It took me a long time to get through, to get to this point of understanding when somebody treats me this way. There are some things that are happening. One is that person's hurting, because hurting people hurt people. So if you're being hurt by someone, I can just about guarantee you that that person is hurting in some way. And the abuser needs our prayers as much as the person being abused, because they need to change. They need something to happen in their life to change the way they are, so they stop that, for one. Because, so if we can pray that their heart would be healed, then the abuse wouldn't happen anymore. Right? So that's one thing. The other thing is, I'm learning how not to act. So for one, I have somebody to pray for to help heal their heart so they can stop being abusive. Then another thing is I'm learning how, oh my gosh, like, so this person's acting this way towards me. I better be on guard to not treat other people like this. You know, when I'm feeling in a funk, you know, I better like watch myself so I don't go down this path, because then you can really start to hurt some people. And then the other thing is to be abused by somebody, God can redeem that and bring something good. The redemption of the world came through the unjust abuse of Christ. For those of you who aren't Christians, I'm sorry, but that's the story of Christianity, is that basically God uses injustice to bring redemption and something greater than ever would have been before that injustice. It's amazing. And because we can put our trust in him, we can trust that all these evils can be redeemed and something good can come out of them. So whatever's going on, you can definitely pray for them. That's your most powerful card, especially when you're at a distance. And I believe that you have a guardian angel, and I believe that they have a guardian angel, and you can ask your guardian angel to go help their guardian angel, and they'll do it. So it gets kind of cool. But at any rate, I've talked for a long time. I probably offended half of you. I'm sorry. So I'm going to turn it back over to Ryan. So Ryan, please take it before I offend somebody else.
Sure. No, I really like what you said. I thought that last part was pretty great too. It's a really great idea. So yeah, I think one of the points that Joe was making is brilliant, and that is this. You might not be able to change what's going on in their life. When you don't have power to change what's going on, that's that, right? However, you have the power to help them see the light, to help them see a different way of interpreting it. Basically, as Joe was saying, you know, the two brothers, you have someone who's like, how else would I end up? My father was this way. Another person was like, how else was I supposed to end up? My father was this way. You know, it's completely different, opposite things. The only difference is what they chose to do with it. Mm-hmm. So you can point out to this person and help them see and figure out what they're supposed to do with it. How will they use this in their life for good as opposed to evil? I think that if you stress that with this person or with these people, that's one of the best things you can do. Because you can't shape a person, you can't shape their situation, but you can tell them, hey, this is what's going on. It's terrible, right? We can agree to that. Absolutely. Should not be happening. In the end, are you going to use this to become more evil? Or are you going to use this to become more good, to become more holy? Mm-hmm. Because you have a choice to make. This is happening to you. It's not your fault. But you have a choice to make. What will you do with it? You know, in a game of poker, you're dealt the hand that you're given. In a game of blackjack, you're dealt the hand you're given. You can always say, hit me, you know, and grab another card. But how you play the cards is up to you. And you could take a good hand and make it terrible. You can take a terrible hand and make it good. And that's how life is. I go all in. Works every time. Nice marshmallow. And when it doesn't, I go all in. Works every time. That's great. But that's kind of how it is. So instead of worrying about fixing their situation, because you can't, worry about letting them know they have a choice about what they're going to do with it. What are they going to do with their lives? Are they going to direct it towards something great, beautiful, good? Regardless of the terribles that have happened to them, the injustices, the evils that have happened to them, the wrongdoings, all of this stuff, you know, lies and deceit, abuse, etc. All of that happens. Are you going to take it and make something amazing out of it? Or are you going to take it and amplify it and make yourself weak to it and do nothing with your life? They have a choice. And it's not like either choice will make them more valuable or less valuable. But one is a greater good. One adds more valuable or value into the world. You know, people who invent things, right? People who invented the light bulb, or people who invented electronics that we can work with computers today, and all of these kind of things. They went through hard times and they made good of it. You know? So I think that the best thing you can do is to show them that outlook and try to be an example of that outlook. Share stories of your troubles, but not to show that, hey, I'm worse off than you, or hey, we're equal. We both have these problems. We both have problems. No, people, that's not how it is. I mean, we all have different issues and different ways of experiencing them. We're all different people. It's not, it's not like one problem is equal to another. Even if it's the same problem, we all deal with it differently. The point is to show, hey, I have this problem. I'm going to make good with it. I've got this problem where people treat me this way. And what I decided to do is never treat people that way. I have this problem where people treated me this way. And what I decided to do with it is understand those people who treated me that way so that I can help them at their root of the problem. Things like that. I think that's a beautiful thing that you can do, right? And that is useful. That is helpful to people. And really, most of all, it's helpful to yourself because it gives you the chance to forgive. It gives you the chance to enjoy the beauty. It makes it so that your struggles and your pain don't feel pointless because it allows you to say, oh, there was a point to this. Because of this, I got stronger, right? So be the example and try to rub off on them with that light. Shine that light of, hey, there's always an opportunity. When something bad happens, we label it bad because we don't like it. But that doesn't mean it's the end. It's not the end of it. There's more to come. And this will go in, like the butterfly effect can change so many good things. But you have to have the eyes to see it. And sometimes they're going to be disagreeing. Sometimes you can point all this out and they'll say, no, 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 no. Sometimes they'll point it all out and they'll just be edgy and they'll tell you, not me. Nothing good ever happens to me. They'll tell you that kind of stuff. I've been there before. I've had many a sleepless night, staying up, talking to people online and worrying about them and helping them out. In the end, your words mattered. The time you spent mattered. And they have a chance because of you to see things differently. And eventually, usually after nugget after little nugget after little nugget, they start to come through. They start to look at the world differently, even though they might not have wanted to. Because they start to see what is good against their own will. And they start to become attracted towards it. It's not... you calling me... I've never said you were edgy. What the heck? But yeah, that is my best advice, is to just be an example of someone who's taken the bad and turned it into good, so that they have that chance too. And they will see it. And they might not like it at first. But as time goes on, light will prevail. That's what I got. Joe, do you have anything else you want to add to that?
I did want to touch on the power of forgiveness, like you were just getting at, because really that's a great way to be a light. And it's a great way to heal. I've noticed some stuff in the chat going on about forgiveness and how it can be really difficult. Absolutely. Forgiveness can be hard. And I haven't been through all the situations. I haven't experienced everything you guys have experienced, but I'm telling you, forgiveness is healing for the person who forgives. So like, if somebody's being hurt and abused, the way, like, let's take me and Ryan, for instance. If I do something really, really hurtful to Ryan, which I might, I've got some stuff cooking in the back of my head. I might do something that's really just hurtful. So brace yourself.
Yeah, I'll come as unprepared as possible, so that it has the most. I want it to mean something,
just for no reason.
Yeah.
So for instance, let's say I do something that really, really hurts Ryan, right? So much so that it severs our relationship, that we're no longer friends. We don't have to be friends ever again. But for Ryan to heal from that offense that I committed against him, he needs to forgive me. And until he forgives me, he will never be truly healed from that. He will never experience the full healing from that offense. Now, for me, as the person who did the thing that offended him, that hurt him, that severed the relationship and destroyed years of building a company and all this kind of stuff, right? For me, I have to repent. I remember dealing with it. It was funny. I deal with people from time to time, and they're in conflict. And I remember dealing with these two people, and one person said something mean to the other person, so the other person said something mean back at them, right? And so it was like mean back and forth. And so I had the one person back, by themselves, and I was like, so are you going to be able to forgive them for what they did? Well, are they going to apologize? And I'm like, that's beside the point. Well, they need to apologize. I'm like, I agree. They need to apologize, but they need to apologize for them, for their own good. But I'm not dealing with them right now. I'm dealing with you. Are you going to be able to forgive them? Because that's how you're going to feel better here, right? That's how you're going to heal. And so a lot of times we think, well, I'm not going to forgive them unless they apologize, because, yeah, absolutely. Stuff people do hurts. And people are capable of absolutely horrendous things. They are. Just look around the world. Mm-hmm. But if somebody does something that hurts us, we don't have to wait for them to apologize to be healed of that situation. When we forgive, we heal ourselves. And as long as we don't forgive, we're closing off some of that healing that we could experience. And for those of us who wrong other people, we heal through repentance. That's why I'm so happy to be a Catholic and to have the confessional available. Because for me to actively repent of the things that I know I've done wrong, that is a healing experience. Now, I don't need to go to the confessional to experience that healing. I can do that just silently by myself and still have that healing. But there is a little bit of difference when you actually say it out loud to someone, to another person. Like that kind of takes it to another level, which is really cool. But
yeah,
you know, for me, if I am the perpetrator, repentance is my avenue to healing. So anyway, I just wanted to say that because I noticed there was some stuff going on, and also that's something that you can express, Anonymous. You can express that to your friends, you know, as they're going through some of these hard times, that they can experience the wonderful healing. They can have a great healing experience through forgiveness. As hard as it may be. Now, it might not happen instantly. It might be a process to get to that point of being able to forgive. Absolutely, that's fine. But it's worth taking. It's a path worth taking. Because you can truly experience freedom from those offenses. As long as we hold on to it, we're going to hurt from it. And as soon as we let go of it, we don't have to hurt from it anymore. It's an amazing thing. So anyway, that's what I had. Ryan, take it away.
Sure. One thing Hannah Banana said, and I think Joe already kind of answered this, said, but what if they don't say sorry in the first place? Just want to quickly touch on this because it's not necessarily entirely part of the topic, but it can be. The thing is, you don't have to have someone ask you to do the dishes for you to do the dishes, right? But when you do the dishes for somebody else, it's nice for them, right? But it's also nice for you. Sure, it takes work and you're doing something else or whatever, and it might be a chore, but at the end of the day, it feels good. It feels good that you did something. That's kind of how the healing effect goes. You don't need them to say sorry. Sometimes there is no way to say sorry. Maybe they're already gone and dead. You can still forgive them. To forgive someone is to do something where they've done something wrong, right? And they owe you, right? They owe you an eye for an eye, right? That used to be the old rule, the old law, an eye for an eye. You do something bad to me, okay, you take out my eye, okay, now I take out your eye. Now we're even. You're foregoing that process and you're ending it instead of, because here's the thing. The problem with the eye for an eye is, okay, you took out my eye. Now I've had sightseeing problems for like 3 weeks. I'm going to take your eye out, but I'm still 3 weeks ahead of you. What are you going to do to pay me those 3 weeks? You can't, there's no way to compensate. Oh, I had to go through these experiences without my one eye. You know, I had to figure out how to fold laundry. I had to, work at my place of work. Now you have to work where I work and see what it's like working where I work with only one eye. It's impossible to pay back a wrong deed. So instead of holding a grudge and never being able to repay it and worrying about someone paying you back, you choose to say, you know what? I'm going to end it. You are forgiven. It was wrong that you did what you did, and you should never do it again. And I will be mad at you if you do it again. But I will forgive you your debt. You don't have to. I will not take your eye out because you took mine. I will end it here, end the evils where they lie, and create something good instead. And that goodness is what we call healing. That goodness is beautiful. And yes, the sorry is nice when you know that they say it because they don't want you to hurt, right? That's a beautiful thing. But like as Joe was saying, that's on their part. That's actually their route to healing, is to feel that sorrow and to want to repent of it, to want to change from that. Is how they get healing. But anyways, yeah. So anonymous person, I hope some of this helped. I think maybe in light of what we just talked about, I guess helping them to be more forgiving, finding ways to talk about forgiveness might encourage them. Another thing you can do is you can have them join us on the show. We'd be more than welcome to have them here, and we'd love on them. And that's one of the best things I would know to do for someone is say, hey, I see you're going through a hard time in life. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on. I can't change it. It's going to keep on going crazy. But why don't you join the show? It's called Don't Worry Wednesday. Mm-hmm. And, why don't you join the community? There's a lot of really nice people here. And you might think, well, they don't fit in here. Well, we take people like that, it's part of why we run this thing. So, hopefully help them. But yeah, that's what I got. Our runtime is an hour and 50 minutes or close to that. And yeah. Johnny, anything else you wanted to add to that or?
I did think of an interesting story when you were talking about the whole eye for an eye thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting because, we hear the old adage, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, blah, 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 right? And then you hear, the friendlier version that says, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. And that's kind of true, right? But I just, I learned so much from watching my two sons. I do. I learn a lot about human nature. It's raw human nature.
Raw human nature. Right? The television show. Catch it now, tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, Central Michigan. I wish that the people that do those shows would just mumble sometimes. I'm coming now at 8:30 p.m. Like you've never seen before.
Blah blah. Right. Exactly.
Blah 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 blah. You're excited.
Well, this is super funny. I watch this on a regular basis. One brother will go to the other brother
and punch him in the throat.
Right? One brother will say something or do something to pick on him. Or maybe it's an accident. Maybe, there's, hypothetically speaking, we're jumping on the trampoline. There's a collection of balls in there as well that we're kicking while we jump in the trampoline. Hypothetically. One ball hits one kid in the face and knocks him over. So, what happens next? The kid who got knocked over goes to the other brother, punches the other brother. The other brother gets upset, kicks the other brother back. It was an accident that started. All it took was forgiveness in the beginning, but now it's like, well, I got to pay you back. Well, now we're not even anymore. I got to pay you back. I got to pay you back. And then it turns into this big thing of like they're trying... When we try to get revenge on somebody else, they're going to take it as an act of aggression and they're going to want to get revenge on us again. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So stop the madness.
Yeah, that's so true.
It's amazing. But yeah, sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes we get emotionally jacked up and we need to calm down a little bit first. But really, the more we experience the healing of forgiveness, the more we will desire it. So, if there are people who have done really big, horrendous things that we can't forgive, then maybe we need to just practice forgiving the smaller offenses that other people do and work our way up to those big ones. It's like we were talking about in the first topic about, taking the small first step or jumping over the first short hurdle, right? Because when you start experiencing that healing, you're going to want it. You're going to want it more and more. And it doesn't sound bad to me when somebody, if they're having trouble forgiving somebody, because I know that's a struggle. But I'm just trying to offer some solutions because I want you to heal. I want you to feel better. And I know this is a way that it can happen. So anyway, that's what I got.
Cool. No, that was great. And that's funny. Yeah, kids are like that. I was totally like that. You just hit me. Yeah.
It was an accident. No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
How do you know?
Yeah, why are you choosing to believe this? Like,
how do you know it wasn't an accident?
You're only saying that now because you don't want to get punched. Yeah.
What fun we have.
Yeah. I will trample you. As a kid.
Anymore though, as dad, I'm just like, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna fight. Whatever.
They're gonna fight. It's like when that happens, you just pop your head and be like, "Hey guys, whenever you're done, just come to me. If whatever bloody noses or whatever, it's fine. Then we'll talk about forgiveness. But carry on. See you guys in a half an hour." If you just interrupt with that, they'd probably just be like, "Whatever." I'm done. I'm done with you. Because they'd be like, "Well, that was a weird experience." That it's enough to put them off to be like, I won't fight anymore. But anyhow, so we are pretty much at our runtime here. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. We love you all. We hope that we've been helpful and encouraging, and you've had a good time. So yeah. We love you guys, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Actually, also Friday, if you hit the bell icon and subscribe to the channel, you'll be made notified on Fridays. We do Free for All Friday about the same time we do Don't Worry Wednesdays, and yeah, it's a fun time. We talk about whatever, and we just enjoy ourselves with you guys, and we hope that we try to get you guys involved as well. I guess the debate for next time is going to be starting out with tacos versus hamburgers. And that should be a fun time. And you feel free to come and put your input on the idea. What's better, tacos or hamburgers? But anyways, until next time, have an awesome life and enjoy it. And don't fight with each other like Joe's kids do. Stop fighting. All right.
It'll be awesome. See you guys. We love you guys. We'll see you on Friday. Like, subscribe, ring the bell. Do it. And go to the store.
That's right.